The morning sky over Earth looked calm, like any other morning. Clouds floated in thin sheets. The sun was warm. On the coasts, waves came and went. People walked to work. Buses hummed along. Birds glided in wide circles. No one on the street knew that far beyond the blue sky at the edge of the solar system, a great shape had appeared and was now moving toward them. In a quiet room beneath a mountain, a woman named Director Mira Chen sat at a simple desk. The desk was plain metal with a matte top and a small chip in one corner. She liked that chip. It reminded her that even careful plans needed room for small surprises. On her screen, a cluster of icons marched from the top right to the bottom left. They were not icons, of course. They were ships. They were very large ships. "All arrays confirm," said an officer at the far console. His voice stayed calm. "Contact group is entering deceleration. Estimated mass is extreme." "How many?" Mira asked. 3 main formations. 400 capital ships, thousands of smaller escorts." Mira nodded once. She did not frown. She did not raise her voice. She only tapped one key to bring up another view. The plot zoomed out. The black backdrop filled with new light points. The ships were not close, but they were not far either. They were inside the solar system. They were on a track that pointed like an arrow toward the center. Toward Earth. The room was not large, but it felt airy. The ceiling was high. The lights were soft and even. At the back, a wall screen ran a slow ribbon of status words. External telescopes online. Orbital grid, quiet. Atmospheric nets, ready? The words quiet and ready were the ones Mira liked best. She did not like noisy systems at a moment like this. Another officer turned in his chair. He was young and had a neat haircut and a steady look. "The translation team finished the first pass," he said. "We are receiving a broadcast from the lead ship." "Put it on," Mira said. The air changed as the speakers woke. A voice ran across the room, deep and smooth, like a flute played by a hand that never shook. The language shifted mid-sentence and then settled into clear and simple Earth English, the kind taught in basic schools. "Attention, planet Earth," the voice said. "We are the Kitharn Dominion. We bring order and protection. You will comply and join our structure. It will be easier for you if you do this now. Send a reply within 1 hour. We expect a respectful and quick answer." The room stayed silent. A faint hum came from the air vents. On the wall, a small clock showed time in thin white digits. Mira looked at the digits. Then she looked at her team. She could feel their attention on her like a soft light. She knew they had trained for this. She knew they were ready. "Thank you," Mira said to the officer. "Mute external channels. Keep recording." The officer nodded and tapped a key. The voice cut off, but its echo seemed to stay in the corners of the room. Mira stood and stepped closer to the main display. The ships were bright points on the screen, but she knew they were not points. Each one was large enough to hold a city. Each one had power and reach. Each one was sure of itself. She could almost feel the confidence, like heat from a stove. She thought of her mother's garden. When she was a child, she helped pull weeds between the rows. Her mother said, "Do not yank too fast. If you pull in a hurry, you break the stem and the root stays. Be patient. Take the whole root." Mira had learned to use slow hands. She had learned to wait for the right angle and the right moment. She had learned to prepare before anyone knew there was a plan. "Status of the orbital layer?" she asked. "Dormant," another officer said. "All systems healthy. No external signatures. No leaks." "Good. Keep it that way." At the far end of the room, a small glass door slid open. A woman in gray stepped in, holding a tablet. This was Aliyah Pathak, the liaison to the Civil Council. She had a clear, even tone that never sounded forced. She looked at Mira and gave a small nod. "The Council watched the intercept," Aliyah said. "They asked for your assessment." Mira smiled, a small, warm thing. "Please give them the following. The incoming group is acting by script. They expect fear. They expect quick submission. They expect us to speak on their schedule. We recommend no reply." Aliyah made a quick note. "They will ask if we intend to try diplomacy." "We have tried diplomacy in other cases," Mira said. Her voice stayed kind. "We will do so again when there is room for honest exchange." "This is not that case," Aliyah nodded again. She trusted Mira. Many people did. Mira did not ask for trust. She tried to earn it with clean work and steady choices. On the screen, the ships kept sliding inward. They had a special way of moving. Their engines shaped space like a soft fold in a blanket. They left almost no light behind them. No bright tail, no loud flare. It looked graceful. It was, in its way, beautiful. They came like a long, slow wave. In orbit, small satellites drifted and sparkled in the sun. Some were old. Some were new. Some were not what they seemed. One looked like a worn weather satellite. It was not. It had a hidden spine and a quiet heart that could wake in a breath. Another looked like a camera platform for mapping clouds. It was not. Its lens could turn into something else, something straight and very fast. All of them kept to their old paths, patient and calm. They were part of a net that no one outside Earth had guessed. On the moon's far side, inside a shallow crater, a dome lay dusty and still. Beneath it, in a neat ring, sat a dozen cylinders the size of school buses. They were gray. They were silent. They were very polite. If a person stood inside the dome and listened, they would hear only a low pulse like a giant cat asleep. The cylinders did not brag. They had no wish to scare anyone. They waited for a quiet word. The quiet word would come from Mira, or from someone she trusted. Not yet, a soft chime sounded. The young officer with the neat haircut raised a hand. "Deep scan report," he said. "We found a pattern inside the Catharn signal." "What kind of pattern?" Mira asked. "Time markers. They are counting their own time. It looks like a ritual. They enjoy the ceremony of waiting an hour and then demanding again. So they will ask twice?" "Yes, Director." Mira gave one of her small smiles. "Let them enjoy their ritual." She turned to the side wall. There, a simple map showed Earth as a white circle. Around it, faint threads looped and crossed like lace. Those threads were orbits and lines of sight and windows through which things could pass in the cleanest way. The map did not show weapons. It did not need to. It only showed timing and reach. Timing and reach were polite ideas. They did not hurt feelings. But they also held power. "What do we know about their shield method?" she asked. "From their wake and emissions," said the officer in the back row. "They use a layered screen. The first layer is a field that bends particles. The second is a smart shell that focuses counterwaves. The third is a hard plate that reacts to high-energy spikes." "So," Mira said, "they expect light beams and heavy blasts." "Yes." Mira touched the chip in her desk corner and thought for a moment. "Have we seen their response to cold objects at high speed?" "Not in open records," the officer said. "But there is a gap in their design notes. Their plates like to drink light and heat. They do not like quiet things with no light at all." "Thank you," Mira said. She let the thought pass across her face like a shadow of a cloud. It came and went. It left the air clean behind it. Aaliyah watched Mira, then looked down at her tablet again. "The council also asks if we will evacuate any cities." Mira shook her head. "We will not move people. Movement shows fear. Fear is a signal. We do not send that signal. What about shelters? Keep shelters open. Keep routes clear. Do not announce. Do not alarm. Quiet readiness." Aaliyah wrote this down. Her fingers were quick, but she did not hurry. Hurrying felt wrong in this room. Somewhere in a far ocean, a ship moved under the waves. It was large and soft in shape, like a whale that had learned to smile. It carried a cargo of small, quiet things. In the water around the ship, fish turned like a school of stars. The ship did not disturb them. The ship liked being kind to fish. It went on, steady and sure, to a place where it would wait. It was not time yet. The outer planets turned in their slow dances. On a moon of Jupiter, a small observatory sat on an ice plain. Inside, a person in a warm coat watched a thin green line across a dark screen. The person did not know exactly what the line meant, but they knew it meant something. They took a sip of warm tea and felt both very small and very proud. They did not know that a line from their observatory fed into Mira's room, and that Mira was quietly grateful for their work. The clock on the wall showed the half-hour mark. The Catharn ships were closer now. They had begun to spread into a shape that wrapped itself around an empty point in space, like a wreath around a doorstep. It was a formation for display, not for careful work. They wanted to look large and neat. They wanted to look like a future that could not be changed. "Second broadcast," the young officer said. "Let it pass through," Mira said. "We do not need to hear it." The room's speakers stayed quiet. The team watched their screens. Outside, an autumn wind moved leaves along a stone path. A scientist in a city lab checked a sensor and smiled at how well it behaved. A child in a classroom traced a big blue circle and wrote Earth in careful letters. Their teacher said, "Nice work." and the child felt a little burst of pride that would stay with them all day. Mira touched another key. On the side screen, a list of names appeared. The Catharn ships glided through the dark space around Earth like enormous silent predators. Their sleek hulls reflected distant stars, and each ship radiated power that humans could barely imagine. Millions of sensors watched them from Earth and its orbiting satellites. From the Moon to Mars, observatories, telescopes, and orbital arrays tracked every movement. On the surface of the planet, people carried on with life unaware of the looming threat. Cities bustled, rivers flowed, and birds sang over quiet forests. Deep within a fortified command center buried under the Rocky Mountains, Director Mira Chen stood over a holographic map of the solar system. The display showed Earth in the center, glowing softly. The Catharn fleet formed a dark, wide ring around the inner planets, their shapes enormous and intimidating. Each symbol on the map represented not just a ship, but a fortress of alien technology built to crush resistance. Mira's eyes scanned the map carefully. Beside her, young Lieutenant Raj Malhotra tapped a console. "They're adjusting formation," he said. "It looks like they're preparing for a direct assault on Earth's orbit. Speed estimates 0.9 times light velocity for the capital ships, smaller escorts faster." Mira nodded. "They are confident," she said quietly. "They have reason to be. But confidence is not invincibility." At the far end of the room, Aliyah Pathak monitored communication channels. Every incoming Catharn signal was recorded and analyzed. "Their sensors are precise," she said, "but they are focused outward. They do not see what they cannot expect. They do not see what they cannot imagine." Mira's gaze shifted to the satellite network displayed on the side wall. Thousands of tiny dots represented Earth's orbiting satellites. To the Catharn, they appeared ordinary. Weather monitoring satellites, communication arrays, observation platforms. But each one hid a secret, a weapon of timing, speed, and precision waiting silently for a single command. "The civilians remain unaware," Mira said. "We keep it that way. Panic would be our only real failure." A soft chime echoed across the room. It came from the orbital railgun control station. Lieutenant Malhotra walked over, his brow furrowed. "The systems are green," he reported. "All rails charged, all targeting arrays calibrated. Ready for activation," Mira smiled faintly. "Good, patience first. Timing second." Outside the command center, the first advanced Catharn ships reached Mars. Their bright hulls gleamed in the sun, and sensors on Earth detected the heat signatures of their engines. The aliens broadcasted a new message, a brief warning, almost playful. "Do not resist. Compliance is simple. Delay is unnecessary." On Earth, the message passed unnoticed. Children played in playgrounds. Old men walked in parks, and teachers taught lessons in quiet classrooms. Only the command center knew the truth. Humanity faced an overwhelming alien force, and the clock was ticking. Mira turned to the main display. "Phase 1 begins," she said. She pressed a soft key on her console. Instantly, millions of micro-drones launched from orbital hangars. They were small, almost invisible, yet fast and intelligent. Each drone followed a pre-programmed path toward the approaching alien ships. They did not attack directly. They clung to the alien hulls like quiet shadows, observing and reporting every movement. The Catharn noticed nothing. They assumed the satellites were ordinary, part of a primitive planetary network. Confidence ran through their ranks. They were sure of victory. In orbit above the Pacific Ocean, a hidden battleship rose silently. It had been built decades ago, disguised as an old cargo vessel. Its engines hummed softly, producing no visible flare. On board, engineers monitored a series of railguns, small but powerful, designed to strike at speeds unmatched by any conventional weapon. Mira's plan relied not on firepower alone, but on unpredictability. "The microdrones report no resistance yet," said Raj. "They are moving in formation as expected. Catharn Command shows no sign of tactical adjustment." "Perfect," Mira replied. "Let them feel the calm before the storm." In the dark void near Jupiter, another group of satellites shifted position. They were part of Earth's electromagnetic pulse network, waiting to deliver a quiet, concentrated shock to the alien fleet. The system had been tested in simulation thousands of times, but never against a real opponent. Its success depended entirely on timing, precision, and the humans operating it. A sudden beep interrupted the calm. A Catharn scout had broken formation and approached the orbital perimeter near Venus. The small ship moved as if curious, scanning for resistance. Mira's hand hovered over a secondary control key. "Do not engage," she said. "Let curiosity lead them into the trap." The scout passed harmlessly through the invisible net of sensors, its presence recorded and analyzed. It had no idea it was entering the eye of a carefully prepared storm. Below, on Earth, scientists in hidden laboratories monitored the alien fleet with quiet pride. Years of research, training, and preparation had led to this day. They had anticipated alien tactics, tested thousands of simulations, and perfected every detail. Now the real test was unfolding in silence. Aaliyah Pathak checked the global alert systems. Every civilian radar, every satellite, every control array was silent but ready. "All civilian networks are in low power mode," she reported. "No signal leaks. People remain unaware. The world is calm." Mira nodded. "Good, keep it that way." At the moon base, the hidden orbital weapons quietly powered up. Railguns, lasers, and electromagnetic pulse emitters aligned with perfect precision. Small, silent satellites moved into position, their sensors scanning the alien fleet. The weapon systems were ancient in design, but upgraded with modern technology. They could strike faster than the eye could follow, faster than any alien shield could respond. The Catharn fleet, confident in their power, prepared for a direct assault on Earth's orbit. They were unaware that every move they made was anticipated. Every shift in formation, every speed adjustment, every broadcast had already been measured, analyzed, and countered. In the command center, Mira walked slowly among her team. She stopped at Raj's station. "Are the microdrones ready to relay the next sequence?" she asked. "Yes, Director," he replied. "They are feeding data to the orbital weapons. Every ship, every maneuver is tracked." Mira nodded. "Good, timing is everything. Remember, speed is nothing without precision. Patience is our ally." The Catharn sent another message, short and sharp. "Compliance is still advised. Resistance will be costly." Mira looked at Aaliyah. "Do not respond." Aaliyah typed a quick note for the Council, explaining that Earth would remain calm and prepared. Outside the command center, people continued their daily lives. Children played in quiet fields. Office workers typed at keyboards, and street vendors shouted greetings to passers-by. The world moved on, unaware of the massive fleet poised above their heads. Suddenly, a soft green pulse appeared on the main display. The orbital railguns were online. Their targeting systems were locked onto the Catharn formation. Mira's heart did not race. Her mind was steady, moving through the plan she had rehearsed countless times. "Phase 2 begins," she said. She pressed another key. Across the solar system, hidden satellites and orbital platforms began subtle maneuvers, positioning themselves for the first strike. The microdrones moved silently, relaying exact locations of enemy ships. The fleet's size and speed no longer gave them advantage. It made them predictable. In a small observation post on Mars, a young scientist named Kaito watched the display. He had spent years studying alien propulsion systems, and now he felt both awe and fear. The fleet was enormous, faster than any simulation had predicted. Yet he also saw the pattern, the flaw in their confidence. Humanity had not built the most massive ships, but it had built patience, precision, and unity. That flaw in the aliens' arrogance was humanity's chance. Back in the command center, Mira looked at each team member. "This is the moment we have trained for," she said. "Every system, every drone, every railgun is ready. We do not fear their numbers. We respect their power, but we do not bow." A soft hum filled the room. The hum came from the orbital platforms, from the satellites, from the hidden weapons. It was the sound of waiting, of readiness, of energy contained. It was not loud. It was not threatening. It was simply alive. The Catharn fleet, still confident, moved closer to Earth. Their sensors picked up nothing unusual. They assumed dominance. They assumed fear. They assumed compliance. And in that assumption, Mira and her team prepared the first move. A single keystroke sent the micro-drones into a calculated, synchronized pattern. Each drone attached itself to an alien hull, scanned its armor, and reported weaknesses. Within seconds, the data streamed to the orbital railguns and hidden pulse emitters. The silent weapon systems adjusted their angles, fine-tuning targeting in ways the Catharn could not detect. Time seemed to slow. The world above continued as normal, but in orbit a quiet storm of precision and patience gathered. Every system, every team member, every carefully hidden tool waited for one signal, the moment when humanity would strike. Mira's eyes rested on the holographic map. Earth remained calm, small, and glowing in the center. Around it, the great alien fleet continued to advance. They did not know that in mere moments their confidence would meet a force they had never expected, and that force was patience, intelligence, and the quiet strength of humanity. The Catharn fleet moved closer to Earth, massive shadows against the backdrop of stars. Each ship seemed to stretch for kilometers, their hulls gleaming like black steel. They had prepared for victory. In their eyes, humanity was small, fragile, and easy to crush. Yet the humans had something the aliens could not see, a hidden plan, a careful preparation that stretched across decades. Beneath the Earth, in the deep command center, Director Mira Chen watched every display. The holographic map showed the fleet narrowing its formation, positioning to strike. "They are confident," she said softly. "They still do not understand patience. That is their first mistake." Beside her, Lieutenant Raj Malhotra adjusted the data feeds. "Their shields are strong," he said. "The upper layers are reinforced with adaptive plating. They have countermeasures for lasers and kinetic strikes." Mira nodded. "Yes, but they are not ready for silent weapons. Timing and surprise are stronger than raw power." Alia Pathak monitored communications. The Catharn sent another message. Their tone was calm, almost arrogant. "Resistance is futile. Earth is minor. We expect swift surrender." Mira allowed herself a faint smile. "Let them think so," she said. "Confidence will be their undoing." The true power of humanity was not in the size of its ships. It was hidden in small, precise systems, each one unnoticed, each one prepared for a single purpose. In orbit, thousands of satellites drifted silently. They were disguised as weather monitors, communication relays, and scientific instruments. In truth, each one could act as part of a complex network of observation and attack. Some satellites carried microkinetic devices, tiny, fast-moving projectiles nearly invisible, capable of striking precise points on the alien hulls. Others contained electromagnetic pulse emitters, designed to disable systems without firing a single shot. Hidden railguns stationed on the moon and in orbit were prepared to launch projectiles at speeds unimaginable to the aliens. On Earth, the command center's operators worked in silence, watching the patterns of the fleet. Every move the aliens made had been studied and predicted. Every formation, every speed adjustment, every message, the humans had a counter for each. The aliens assumed they were observing weakness. In reality, they were being guided into a trap. "Director," Raj said, "the advance group is approaching geostationary orbit. Their scouts are scanning for hidden defenses. They are cautious but curious." "Good," Mira replied. "Curiosity can be dangerous if you do not notice the world watching you. Let them come closer." "We are ready." In the far reaches of orbit, hidden platforms powered up quietly. Their engines emitted no visible glow, no sound, no disturbance. They aligned themselves with micro-precision. Railguns adjusted their angles by fractions of a degree. Sensors measured distances with millimeter accuracy. Every system, every drone, every satellite acted in perfect synchronization. Meanwhile, beneath the ocean, a massive submerged platform waited. It was shaped like an ordinary cargo ship, but inside, it housed silent missile systems and launchers for electromagnetic torpedoes. Its hull absorbed light and reflected nothing unusual. It would strike only when the signal came, and even then, its presence would be impossible to detect until the first attack hit. Above Earth, the Catharn fleet continued its approach, oblivious to the preparations beneath and around them. Their fleet was organized, vast, and confident. They had conquered many worlds before. They assumed the same methods would work here. They assumed Earth would bow. But humanity's strength lay not in numbers, but in unpredictability. Each satellite, each microdrone, each hidden weapon could act independently, and as part of a coordinated system. The Catharn could not imagine it. They had never faced an enemy that hid its power, and moved only when the moment was right. "Micro-drone network is fully deployed," Raj reported. "They have attached to all visible hull surfaces of the alien scouts. Data streams are stable. We can see their shield layers and structural weaknesses." Mira nodded. "Excellent. Now we wait for the moment they cannot recover from." On Mars, a small observation post tracked the fleet. Young scientist Kaido adjusted his instruments, analyzing the alien propulsion patterns. "Their engines leave a faint heat signature," he said to his partner. "If we target this signature, we can predict their acceleration bursts and timing." Every move they make becomes predictable. His partner, Lena, nodded. It is almost like watching a clockwork machine. They are strong, but they are following their patterns. Exactly, Kaito said. And that predictability is our advantage. Back on Earth, the command center hummed with quiet energy. Every operator was focused, calm, precise. The world above remained unaware. Civilians walked streets, drove cars, and went about their daily routines. To the people below, life was ordinary. To the fleet above, life seemed fragile and small. Director, Raj said, the fleet is now within lunar orbit. They are adjusting formation for planetary approach. They expect to dominate the first wave of defense satellites. Let them, Mira said. They will find the satellites are not what they seem. We do not need to reveal ourselves yet. Patience will serve us better. In the hidden lunar base, the orbital railguns silently prepared, their massive barrels adjusted to precise angles. Targeting computers calculated every fraction of movement in the fleet. Sensors measured temperature, electromagnetic interference, and shield density. Every calculation, every adjustment, every silent movement of machinery brought humanity closer to a single decisive moment. The Catharn, confident in their numbers, sent a formation of scouts ahead. They moved through geostationary orbit, scanning for obstacles, looking for resistance. They assumed that the satellites were harmless, ordinary objects. They assumed Earth's weapons were primitive. They assumed victory, but they did not see the invisible threads. They did not see the hidden network. They did not know that the moment had been counted, measured, and prepared for years. Director Mira watched the screen as the scouts moved closer. Her hand hovered over the key that would activate the first phase. The micro-drones attached to the alien hulls transmitted their findings to the orbital weapons. Electromagnetic pulse emitters aligned with invisible precision. Railguns calculated exact firing angles. Every component waited for the single signal. Phase 3, Mira said softly. Prepare for final synchronization. Aliyah Pathak confirmed every channel. All civilian lines remain quiet. The world is unaware. Orbital sensors report stable patterns. Weapon systems are ready. Mira nodded. Good. Remember, this is not about speed. It is about timing, and we are the masters of timing. The Catharn fleet moved into position, unaware that their every movement had been tracked and predicted. Their formation stretched across space, organized for intimidation and control. Yet their confidence blinded them to the fact that each ship had vulnerabilities. Weaknesses exposed by the patient humans who had watched, waited, and calculated. Beneath the ocean, the hidden platform adjusted its position, aligning with the fleet's trajectory. Electromagnetic torpedoes hummed silently. Missiles were armed but invisible. The crew of the platform remained calm, watching screens that displayed the Catharn fleet as moving shadows. Their hearts did not race. Their minds were steady. They had trained for this day, and now the moment was near. Back at the command center, Mira took a slow breath. All systems aligned? She asked. Yes, Director, Raj said. Micro-drones, satellites, railguns, lunar platforms, and ocean weapons are fully synchronized. Awaiting your signal. Mira's eyes swept over her team. Each face was calm, focused, ready. Every person had trained for this. Every person had counted the hours and minutes. Every person had practiced patience. They did not fear the fleet. They respected it. They were ready. The Catharn scouts moved closer to Earth's upper orbit. One small vessel, no larger than a city block, scanned the area, recording data, unaware that every sensor, every angle, every weakness had already been mapped by humans. Mira pressed a soft key. A quiet pulse ran across the network. Micro-drones transmitted final positioning data. Orbital railguns adjusted angles to match movement. The hidden ocean platform and lunar batteries hummed in invisible alignment. The calm before the storm stretched for seconds. But each second was measured, calculated, perfect. Phase 3 complete, Mira said. Prepare for impact. Humanity's answer is ready. Outside, the sky remained calm. Clouds drifted across the sun. Birds glided above cities, and people moved through ordinary routines. No one knew that at this moment, humanity's hidden arsenal, forgotten by history but perfected over decades, had awakened. In deep space, the Catharn fleet continued its confident approach. They assumed that Earth would resist in panic, in fear, in predictable ways. They assumed the humans would try to fight with what they had visible. They assumed the battle would be simple, and they were wrong. Humanity's quiet strength, its patience, its hidden weapons, and its unseen preparation had converged into one perfect moment. The first strike was about to begin. The first strike began without warning. The Catharn fleet, confident in its numbers and strength, assumed Earth's defenses were primitive. But as the silent micro-drones relayed the final positions, every hidden system moved with precise coordination. In the command center, Director Mira Chen watched the displays with quiet intensity. "Phase 4, she said softly. Her hand rested lightly on the activation key. Now, immediately the orbital railguns fired. The shots were invisible streaks of pure energy and velocity, moving faster than the eye could follow. Each projectile struck a precise point on the hulls of the Catharn scouts, the weak points discovered by the micro-drones. The first few explosions were small but perfect, creating breaches in the alien shields that had been considered impenetrable. A hush fell across the command center. No one cheered. They did not need to. Every screen told them what was happening. The Catharn had assumed they would dominate, but now they were confused. Their first wave of scouts was faltering. Tiny invisible attacks had undone years of preparation. "Excellent," Mira said. "Continue synchronization. Focus on the hull weak points, then expand." The micro-drones adjusted, moving along the alien hulls, transmitting new positions to the orbital railguns and electromagnetic pulse platforms. Then came the next phase, the electromagnetic pulses. Hidden emitters on the moon and in orbit fired simultaneously, targeting the ship's shield generators. The Catharn were unprepared. Their shields flickered, dimmed, and then failed in precise spots. Outside Earth's atmosphere, the alien fleet reeled. They fired blindly, trying to strike the invisible enemy, but every human system was ready, adapting instantly. The Catharn could not anticipate unpredictability. Every move they made only made them more vulnerable. Below, in the deep ocean, the hidden platform fired its first torpedoes. They moved silently, invisible in the dark water in space above. When they hit the alien ships, the impact sent vibrations through the hulls that the aliens could not trace. Explosions tore small pieces away, sending alien debris spinning into space. On Earth, scientists monitored every strike with precision. Young Kaido adjusted sensors and whispered calculations. "Their shields are collapsing faster than expected. We can hit the larger capital ships next." His partner, Lena, nodded. They did not expect quiet, precise attacks. They assumed we would fight with obvious force. But we don't need force. We need accuracy. In the command center, Mira gave a slow nod. "Accuracy and timing will defeat even overwhelming numbers. Humans are not the largest or strongest. We are the cleverest." The alien fleet tried to regroup. They sent more ships forward, aiming to overwhelm the orbital systems with sheer power. But the humans anticipated this. Every ship was tracked, every movement predicted. The orbital weapons struck again and again, tearing through the alien hulls with impossible speed. The Catharn could barely respond before another strike hit them. "Director," Raj Malhotra said, "they are trying to change formation. They are accelerating toward Earth's orbit. They may be attempting a direct strike on the planet." Mira's eyes were calm. "Let them come. Their movement is predictable. Timing is on our side. Continue targeting weak points." On the moon, railguns fired again. The Catharn capital ships shuddered. Explosions rippled across their surface. Some ships lost control and drifted helplessly into space, spinning like broken toys. The fleet was still large, but its cohesion had been destroyed in mere moments. Confidence had turned into panic. Deep below the ocean, the platform fired another wave of torpedoes. They moved silently, striking shields and hulls alike. The Catharn ships were overwhelmed not by brute force but by strategy, preparation, and patience. Each strike was calculated. Each strike hit exactly where it needed to. The human operators did not panic. They did not shout. They moved as one, calm and precise. Every calculation, every adjustment, every small movement of the weapons network ensured maximum efficiency. Humanity's hidden arsenal was alive and synchronized. Meanwhile, on Earth, civilians still walked unaware of the battle above. Children played in parks, cars moved through streets, and birds glided over forests. The contrast was striking. Ordinary life continued below, while in orbit a massive alien fleet was collapsing under invisible strikes. The Catharn fleet tried desperately to fight back. Energy beams, missiles, and plasma bolts fired at the hidden satellites and orbital platforms. But the humans had prepared for this. Each system moved slightly, adjusting angles, absorbing energy, or diverting attacks. Nothing hit the intended targets. Every strike the aliens made failed to disrupt the coordinated network. "Director," Raj said, "their counterattacks are increasing. They are targeting the micro-drone network." "Good," Mira replied. "Let them waste energy. Let them reveal every weakness. We are ready for it." The micro-drones continued their work. They adapted, moved along the hulls, and fed real-time data to the orbital and ocean weapons. The network was resilient. The Catharn ships could not isolate a single weak point. Every weak point was already covered by humans' unseen attacks. Then came the final stage, the concentrated strike on the capital ships. The largest vessels, the heart of the Catharn fleet, were targeted simultaneously by orbital railguns, lunar batteries, and ocean torpedoes. Each strike was timed to hit within fractions of a second, creating chain reactions across the alien hulls. Explosions erupted, tearing apart ships that had once seemed invincible. The command center was silent except for the soft hum of equipment. Mira's eyes followed each display, calm and measured. The human fleet had no large battleships, no overwhelming numbers, no terrifying weapons. But the combination of patience, intelligence, and coordination had destroyed a fleet that was larger, stronger, and faster. In orbit, the Catharn pilots struggled to maintain control. Their ships were failing one by one. Panic spread among their ranks. Systems went offline. Shields collapsed. Engines failed. The fleet, once organized and confident, became a scattered collection of helpless vessels. Mira observed this with quiet pride. "This is what I hoped for," she said softly. "The spark of humanity, cleverness, and patience. It is stronger than sheer power." On Earth, ordinary people noticed strange flashes in the sky. Some thought they were meteors. Others assumed satellites re-entered the atmosphere. No one suspected the truth, that humanity's hidden weapons had struck with perfect precision, saving the planet without revealing themselves. In the command center, Aliyah checked the civilian communication lines. All systems remained quiet. No panic reported. "The world continues as normal." Mira nodded. "Good, keep it that way. Humanity's victory is strongest when it is silent and unseen." The Catharn fleet attempted one last maneuver. They tried to retreat, regroup, and counterattack. But it was too late. Their confidence had been shattered. Their ships were failing faster than they could repair them. The humans' unseen arsenal had struck with perfect timing, and now the alien fleet had no cohesion, no plan, and no way to fight back. "Director," Raj said, "the fleet is breaking apart. They are retreating. Capital ships are destroyed or disabled. Smaller vessels are lost in space." Mira allowed herself a small, satisfied smile. "Excellent. Humanity has shown its strength, not in brute force, but in intelligence, preparation, and patience. The Catharn will remember this moment for a long time." Outside the command center, the world continued as before. Birds flew, rivers flowed, children played, and people went about their daily routines. Above them, the alien fleet had been annihilated in mere moments. Humanity had survived not because of fear, but because of preparation, cleverness, and calm determination. The hidden satellites, micro-drones, railguns, and ocean platforms remained in position, ready for any remaining threat. But the Catharn fleet was no longer a threat. The Earth was safe. Humanity had faced an impossible force and had prevailed. Mira looked at her team. "Well done," she said. "This is the human spark. Cleverness, patience, and courage. Never forget it. We have shown the galaxy what humanity can do." The team nodded, tired but proud. They had watched history unfold, not as warriors of brute strength, but as the quiet, intelligent defenders of their world. And somewhere far away across the galaxy, sensors on other civilizations detected the collapse of the Catharn fleet. A single unmistakable truth spread. Humanity was not to be underestimated. They were clever, resilient, and capable of defeating forces far stronger than themselves. The battle was over. The Earth remained safe. The Catharn fleet had learned a lesson they would never forget. And humanity, quiet and unseen, had proven the power of patience, preparation, and intelligence. For now, the world returned to normal, but the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity had sparked a new era, not with loud victory, but with precise, perfect action. And the echoes of this day would reach stars far beyond the solar system. The silence after the battle was profound. In orbit, The debris of the Catharn fleet floated, scattered across space. Some fragments drifted slowly toward the sun, glowing faintly as they burned. Others spun aimlessly, silent reminders of a force that had once seemed unstoppable. Humanity had faced the impossible and prevailed, not through brute force but through intelligence, patience, and careful preparation. Director Mira Chen stood in the command center, her eyes on the holographic map of the solar system. Earth glowed softly at the center, surrounded by countless dots representing satellites, weapons platforms, and observation posts. Every system had returned to a calm state, awaiting the next command. She allowed herself a small smile. Humanity had done what many believed impossible. Lieutenant Raj Malhotra walked up to her console. "Director," he said, "the last of the Catharn signals are fading. They have not sent a coherent message in over an hour. It seems their fleet is completely neutralized." Mira nodded. "Good. Begin data collection for analysis and historical record. Every micro-drone, every orbital strike, every torpedo hit must be logged. The galaxy may need to understand what happened here." Aliyah Pathak turned from the civilian communication channels. "The world is still calm. No panic, no confusion. People continue their daily lives. Only our team knows the truth." "Perfect," Mira said. "The quieter our victory, the stronger its message. Humanity does not need to boast. Our strength speaks for itself." Far above Earth, a single human satellite rotated slowly, its sensors sweeping across the debris field left by the Catharn. Tiny fragments reflected sunlight, glinting like distant stars. Even in pieces, the alien fleet's size was intimidating. Yet humanity had overcome it. A small smile crossed the face of the young scientist Kaito as he monitored the readings. "They underestimated patience and precision," he murmured. "Every calculation, every preparation made this possible." Below in the command center, Mira's team continued their work. Each operator recorded, analyzed, and verified every detail. The world remained unaware, and that was exactly how humanity wanted it. Victory was strongest when it was calm, organized, and precise. The Catharn had learned a painful lesson. Humans were clever, patient, and unpredictable. On the moon, the hidden railguns and orbital platforms returned to standby mode. Their systems remained active but invisible. Micro-drones drifted in geostationary orbit, collecting data from the destroyed fleet. Each drone's mission was complete, yet they continued to serve as silent guardians, ensuring that no threat could approach Earth unnoticed. In the ocean depths, the submerged platform powered down its torpedoes. The water returned to calm. Crew members exhaled slowly, feeling relief they had not known during the battle. They had played a crucial role in humanity's defense, hidden from view, yet indispensable. Mira walked slowly through the command center, her eyes meeting each member of her team. They had acted with courage and precision, executing a plan that had taken years to perfect. "Well done," she said softly. "You have shown the galaxy the power of human ingenuity, not by loud weapons, but by patience, intelligence, and coordination." In cities across the world, life continued. Children played in parks, families enjoyed meals, and workers completed daily tasks. No one noticed the trails of light and debris slowly orbiting above. Humanity had defended itself without disruption, preserving not only life but normalcy. At the International Council, representatives received a quiet report from the command center. There was no dramatic announcement. The report detailed the events without exaggeration. It simply stated that the Catharn fleet had been neutralized and Earth remained secure. The council members shared calm relief. Humanity had survived and the victory was complete. In deep space, remnants of the Catharn fleet drifted. Sensors from distant civilizations picked up the collapse of a massive force. The story spread slowly like ripples across water. Other species, previously unaware of humanity's potential, began to understand that humans were clever, patient, and dangerous when underestimated. Across star systems, whispers of Earth's victory traveled through observation networks, forming the first impression of a species that could not be controlled easily. Back on Earth, Mira stood by the main display, watching the holographic map. She could see the Catharn debris drifting outward, but also the orbital defenses that remained in place. Humanity's victory had been thorough. Yet she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast and threats could arise again. Preparation, intelligence, and unity would remain humanity's strongest weapons. Lieutenant Malhotra approached. "Director, what now?" The fleet is gone. We could rest. Mira shook her head. Now we observe, we study. We learn from this moment. Victory is not only about survival, it is about understanding, so the next challenge can be faced even more effectively. Eliopathic added, we should also prepare messages to allies and neutral civilizations. Let them know Earth can defend itself, but without arrogance. A clear message of capability and peace, Mira nodded. Yes, let this be a lesson, not a threat. Humans are capable of defending themselves, and we do not need to boast. Actions speak louder than words. In orbit, the microdrones continued their patrols. Each one moved silently, scanning, recording, and learning. The data would be invaluable for the future, forming the basis of defensive strategies and scientific studies for decades. Humanity had gained knowledge not just from the victory, but from the battle itself, the precise timing and the strategies executed flawlessly. On Earth, civilians remained blissfully unaware. Farmers tended crops, children learned new lessons in classrooms, and everyday life went on uninterrupted. The contrast between the calm below and the battle above could not have been more striking. Humanity had demonstrated that strength was not always loud or visible. It could be hidden, patient, and precise. In the far reaches of space, other civilizations received the signals from the Catharn collapse. Sensors detected the sudden absence of the fleet and the unusual patterns in orbital space around Earth. Analysts and scientists in other systems could not fully understand what had happened. But one truth was clear. Humans were clever, adaptable, and capable of strategies that others could not predict. The galaxy now had a reason to watch Earth closely. Back in the command center, Mira addressed her team. We have done well, she said. Today, humanity has proven that intelligence, patience, and preparation can overcome even overwhelming odds. Remember this moment. Learn from it. And never forget that we can achieve greatness when we work together, quietly and precisely. The team exchanged calm smiles. Pride filled the room, not in loud triumph, but in shared accomplishment. They had defended their world with courage, intelligence, and care. They had protected millions of lives without unnecessary destruction or chaos. Outside, the world remained unaware of the extraordinary events unfolding above. Birds continued to glide across skies. Rivers continued to flow, and humans went about their ordinary lives. The victory was invisible yet undeniable. Mira's gaze returned to the holographic map. Earth remained safe, its hidden defenses intact, its systems ready for the future. The Catharn fleet was gone, scattered across space as evidence of humanity's cleverness. The galaxy had seen a glimpse of what humans could accomplish. Lieutenant Malhotra asked, Director, will the Catharn try to return? Mira considered this for a moment. Perhaps, she said. But now they know, and all civilizations observing will know as well. Humans are not easily conquered. They are patient, intelligent, and capable of great strategy. That knowledge is a powerful deterrent. Aaliyah added, The message we send to the galaxy does not need words. Our actions today have spoken clearly. Mira nodded. Exactly. Let this be the first of many lessons. The galaxy will watch, but humanity will continue to act with intelligence and care. Our strength is in our unity, our preparation, and our courage. As the day ended on Earth, people continued their routines. Families gathered for dinner, children laughed in playgrounds, and workers returned home from their jobs. Above them, the remnants of the Catharn fleet drifted silently in space, a testament to human ingenuity and resilience. In the quiet of the command center, Mira finally allowed herself to breathe deeply. The battle was over, Earth was safe. Humanity had faced a force far greater than itself and had triumphed. The victory was clean, precise, and silent, a reflection of everything humanity represented. Far across the stars, the echoes of this moment spread. Other civilizations began to reconsider their assumptions about humans. The galaxy had learned a new truth. Earth was a world that could not be taken lightly. Humans were clever, patient, and capable of defending themselves against overwhelming odds. Their victory would inspire caution, respect, and perhaps admiration in the stars beyond. Mira looked at the stars beyond the command center window. The night sky stretched infinitely, full of possibilities. Humanity had proven itself. And this was only the beginning. With quiet confidence, she turned back to her team. Well done, she said. Earth stands today, and tomorrow we will continue to watch, to learn, and to prepare. Because the galaxy is wide and humanity has much to show. And somewhere in the far reaches of space, the echoes of Earth's victory whispered across the stars, a clear message to all who might come.